Welcome, class, to what's going to be your absolute darkest semester yet. Go ahead, take a seat. I'm your instructor, the Shadow Reaper, and this explainer is basically your definitive literature study guide for the term. Look, today we're here to totally deconstruct those optimistic, neatly packaged little fairy tales you've been spoon-fed since childhood. Seriously, just forget about the hero finding their true self or, saving the village. It's not happening here. Instead, we're analyzing the Crimson Play, a monomyth of absolute negation. Get your notebooks out because we are diving into a narrative where the protagonist doesn't find the light. Nope. They literally shed their humanity to become the absolute law of the void. All right, here's a quick look at the syllabus for today. We're going to cover Hero versus the Void, Departure and the Roast Beast, Initiation through the Great Hollowing, Mentors, specifically Sage versus Grimnosh, Delivering the Honest Sound, and finally, the Apotheosis, or the Eternal Return. Let's just jump right in. Section 1. Hero versus the Void, and contrasting narrative goals. Let's kick off this lecture by completely dismantling the naive differences between your traditional hero and the protagonist of our text, the Seeker. Just look at how perfectly this maps out the thematic contrast. While a traditional hero foolishly runs around trying to save a community just to find some sort of peace and integration, our Seeker's ultimate goal is way more absolute. They literally want to uncreate meaning and achieve the void. Think about the boon for a second. A normal hero brings back the elixir of life, right? Our Seeker? Oh, they bring back the metaphysical chill, the eternal return. It's an incredibly structured, almost mathematical inversion of absolutely everything Joseph Campbell ever taught you about myth-making. Moving on to Section 2. Departure, the Roast Beast, and Escaping the City of Habit. So we enter Act 1, the Ascent to the Pulpit. Here, we really need to examine the worldly success our Seeker is desperately trying to escape right at their great noon. Now, I need you all to memorize this term for your midterms, the Roast Beast. It's a brilliant way to illustrate the burden of success. The Roast Beast is that super heavy, suffocating feast of status, family, and constructed legacy that just weighs the Seeker down. It's literally everything society tells you that you should want. But, to the Seeker standing up there at the pulpit of the parish stars, this feast isn't nourishing at all. It's just a dead weight dragging them right down into the mud of mediocrity. And that leads us to what the text calls the inverted threshold. See, unlike the classic hero who leaves home specifically to save it, the Seeker just bails on their life because they realize it's nothing more than a mundane city of habit. There's no grand, noble call to adventure to protect the innocent here. The call is just this crushing internal realization of emptiness. They leave because the home itself is the trap. To validate this awful hollow feeling in their chest, they seek out the indifferent Mephistopheles, also known as the Red Spectre. And what does the Spectre do? He completely unmasks the reality. He reveals that their entire life is just a brightly colored scarf wrapped around a totally dead, heartbeatless universe. So the absolute crucial takeaway here is this. The journey doesn't kick off with a spark of hope. Not at all. It starts with the chilling comfort of total cosmic indifference. All right, Section 3. Initiation, the Great Hollowing, and Stripping the Why. This brings us to your lab work for the semester. We're diving into Act 2, the breaking of the fast, which is where the pitiful illusion of human purpose just gets systematically destroyed. In this procedural destruction, what the text calls the Great Fast, the Spectre literally touches the Roast Beast, and instantly, it turns into matter that tastes of absolutely nothing. Just imagine that for a second. Your greatest achievements, your deepest loves, suddenly turning to pure ash in your mouth. Through this terminal wager, the Seeker's why, their core motivation for existing, is just systematically stripped away piece by piece. It's a brutal, active unlearning of human desire. But during this desolate mirage, they aren't alone. Enter the Wanderer. This predatory psychopomp ensures that every single step forward is actually a step deeper into the void. You see, the milestones they reach aren't markers of progress or success. No, they are literal stitches in the shroud of the universe. It's such a brilliant, terrifying storytelling mechanism because it completely traps the protagonist in their own downward spiral. Next up, Section 4, Mentors, Sage versus Grimnosh and the Architects of Negation. As the Seeker descends into Act 3, their ego really starts to fracture, and this introduces us to our guest lecturers, the Architects of the Void. Make sure you check your notes here, class, because this is a massive subversion of the standard monomyth. Instead of some wise sage who holds your hand, offers cryptic but encouraging little nuggets of advice, and points you toward the light, our Seeker runs into Grimnosh. And Grimnosh is a mentor who acts as a metaphysical antibody dedicated to active negation. He employs tactical nihilism. He's definitely not there to build the Seeker up. He is there to actively break down whatever pathetic remnants of hope are left, almost like an immune system attacking a virus of optimism. Which takes us to Section 5, Delivering the Honest Sound, a case study in shattering sanctuaries. Let's dig into our primary case study for a minute, that specific, brutal interaction, where Grimnash really tests the Seeker's will. Pay super close attention to this, because it's the emotional epicenter of Act 3. Look, Grimnash doesn't offer a fun, philosophical riddle. Instead, he delivers the honest sound. And what exactly is that? Well, it's a heavy, undeniable thud. Whenever the Seeker tries to cling to a fond memory, a justification, or some flimsy moral rationalization, Grimnash just strikes it down. This thud physically and mentally shatters whatever pathetic internal sanctuaries the Seeker still has clinging on. It's a highly aggressive, tactile dismantling of the Seeker's inner world, and it echoes in their mind until the silence of the void is literally the only comfort left to them. This tactical nihilism strips away all the color and warmth, leaving behind only a raw, gray truth. And hey, this is actually where my own namesake in the text makes an entrance. I, the Shadow Reaper, follow right behind Grimnash to harvest the husks of the Seeker's past. Through a totally strict logic of zero, the Reaper makes sure the pool of gore, which represents the ink of the Seeker's past story, never fades. This basically finalizes the total destruction of their historical identity. Finally, Section 6, Apotheosis, the Eternal Return and the Final Nightmare. All right, time for your final exam material, the dark climax of this whole theatrical production, stretching across Acts 4 and 5. In Act 4, which is the crisis of absurdity, the Silver Imp makes his appearance. Perched way up in the heights, the imp acts as a lunar mirror, just mocking the entire production with a sound like breaking glass. The imp reveals the cosmic absurdity. He shows them that the Spectre, the Architects, and the Seeker are all just performers in a theater that was never meant to have an audience in the first place. Under the crushing weight of that realization, that they're all just mere scripted gestures in an empty house, the Red Spectre's ego shatters completely. Which brings us right to the final apotheosis in Act 5. This timeline maps out that ultimate transformation. First, the Seeker sheds their individual identity entirely. Gone. Second, they align with the Crimson Star to become the Crimson Knight, the superego of eternal negation. And third, the imp carves lunar runes into the floor to completely reset the stage. The Seeker has officially become the cold, permanent guardian of the script. Remember that comparison table we looked at earlier? Yeah, there is no boon to take back to the normal world here. The prize is just the metaphysical chill. It's a completely endless loop. The Crimson Knight ensures the nightmare refuses to stay dead. He just waits in this beautiful, desolate cycle that forces the very next Seeker to face the exact same hollowing. So, class, as you pack up your notebooks and start studying for the test ahead, I'm going to leave you with this chilling thought. When the Silver Imp carves those runes and the stage resets, are you prepared to face the eternal return and embrace the void? Or do you still foolishly believe you're the hero of this play, desperately clinging to the illusion of your roast feast? Class dismissed.